So Sonic X Shadow Generations has been out for a little over a week now, and it's about time I start talking about the levels and shadows portion of the story. There's a lot to talk about here. Set pieces, visual callbacks, the whole 9 yards, and you can really see them if you dig deep into these levels. I got this video idea from a fellow Sonic YouTuber, his name is Jakes, and I've been watching his videos for a little bit, and one of his recent videos that really stood out to me was his video comparing the two versions of Rooftop Run from Sonic Unleashed and Generations. It's a really well made video, really well put together. Go check it out if you have the chance. Rooftop Run is my favorite Sonic level of all times, in both games, Unleashed and Generations, and since he already talked about Rooftop Run, I wasn't going to make the same video twice, but my second favorite Sonic level of all time has just been reintroduced into the series after 20 years, my goodness. Yes, in my opinion, Kingdom Valley is peak Sonic level design. There are so many different paths that warrant a visit at least once if you stumble upon one by, say, failing to reach another path, the path that you were intending to go and messing up because, Sonic 06. Heck, I was the most excited for this level from the previews we received over this game's release. Like I said before, the last time we saw Kingdom Valley was in Sonic 06. The level of choice in Sonic Generations was Crisis City, being one of the 4 city levels that game has. And as hype as Crisis City is, I won't take that away from Sonic. Team Crisis City is goated. I wish we ended up getting Kingdom Valley instead, so we waited. Game after game, reused asset after reused asset, and after almost 20 years, we finally get a remix of Kingdom Valley for the boost style of gameplay. So how is it? It's Shadow's best level in the story by far. Argue with your deceased. I'll be honest here, I am a Kingdom Valley defender. The design of everything about this level is great, and before any Sonic elitist tries to disprove my point because I'm using gameplay from Sonic Project 06, you need to calm down there, buddy, because these stages still look great on original hardware. I just don't like recording and using Xenia, the current Xbox 360 emulator, because there's always some visual problems. A video on Sonic 06 is for another day, same with Sonic Unleashed. I cannot wait to finally talk about these games, but my current issue is I don't have an Xbox and these games aren't on PC Game Pass for some reason. I don't know, ask this guy. I'm not sure if this will become something permanent, but maybe if received well, you guys can choose what level I talk about in the comment section below. Now, I did say this video was inspired by fellow YouTuber Jakes. The video was him comparing the two versions of Rooftop Run, and the structure of this video is going to be pretty similar, just without his crazy animatics. I'm telling you, if you want to watch a better version of this video, just go watch his video, but he talks about Rooftop Run instead. Anyway, let's do it to it. We're going to start off with Shadow's version of Kingdom Valley from Sonic 06 and compare it to the Shadow Generations version of Act 1 and 2. The first difference is in the first 10 seconds. In Sonic 06, Shadow is using his hang glider to fly over Sonic's first action section of said stage, whereas in Shadow Generations, Shadow is delivered by the Great Eagle. There are actually multiple Great Eagles in the stage. After Shadow's first phase, we switch to Rouge with her gameplay from Sonic Adventure 2. She must find 3 keys to have Shadow advance to his next section of the stage where he gets to use his hovercraft to get over the water. Whereas in Shadow Generations, they just seem to have Shadow go through the first area on foot with various multiple paths that exit the forest and enter the waters around the castle ground using Doom Surf to get around it. Now, I did say I'm using gameplay from Sonic Project 06 because trust me when I say this, Rouge and Knuckles have some of the worst gameplay in the vanilla game. They just couldn't jump off of walls, making gameplay like this very common, so thank the Lord that that's not in Shadow Generation. Returning to Shadow's hovercraft section, we can see how open these alternate routes are, and while the remake isn't as open as the sections in Sonic 06, you can see where they pulled inspiration from these multiple paths. Also, I should mention, in Shadow's original level, he does not use one of the wind rails until one of his final sections of the stage, whereas Shadow Generations, you get one almost right away, more of a callback to Sonic's action stage. It even shares a similar curve. Shadow's Doom Surf section is obviously less open as the water section in Sonic 06, but the primary part is still here. You can explore the second section and its multiple paths. This part isn't automated. You can jump around to your heart's content, and keeping with the theme of Sonic 06, you might find a few medals here and there. Shadow's Doom Surf section is treated like its own act in the level instead of a gimmick that's in the level, meaning you can shave off hella time if you know what you're doing, which keeps the replay value through the roof. Back to the level, Shadow ditches the hovercraft and let one of the Eagles take him to his next and final part of the stage, where he has to make it back to the extraction point with Rouge. and putting these levels side by side goes to show that they're really proud of Kingdom Valley. They didn't really change much in terms of gameplay, whereas in Crisis City and Generations you didn't even get the snowboard section, which makes sense to a degree because we had the snowboard section in City Escape, and while we do get the Mach Speed section at the end, you start where Sonic would have started in his second section in Sonic 06. Kingdom Valley starts the same, follows the same order of gameplay in Sonic 06, there's no difference. The only difference is no glider section and a certain section at the end that we haven't reached yet. Making his way back to the extraction point, Shadow must platform his way forward to take out these room full of enemies. Sega knew that in a faster game, no one was going to want to stop and do that, so you don't have to do it as often as you did in Sonic 06. I think there's like 1 or 2 rooms where you have to take out a room full of enemies, and that's it. Next up is the money shot of the level, the shot where Shadow runs up the building and runs straight back down. The original has Shadow hit a few springs and then wall jump to a dash pad that sends Shadow right up the building for the hardest angle ever, and then he skates right back down, whereas Shadow Generations, he gets help from El Eagle to safely deliver him to his destination. Unless you know how to Chaos Vault. The tech for this game is fucking insane. The final stretch is Shadow making his way back to the big castle, with more platforming and more room clearing. I have a feeling that Shadow's level ended this way because they couldn't give him a Mach Speed section. This is such an anticlimactic ending to this stage considering what happens after this, but in Shadow Generations, well... Shadow gets the Mach Speed section he deserves, and man, it feels like a well-deserved payoff. I love this section of the level, dude. It looks so pretty. The Mach Speed section in the original game is my favorite Mach Speed section in Sonic's campaign. It's the perfect combination of spectacle and difficulty. Shadow doesn't get to run on the water like his blue counterpart over here, but this is a payoff well-deserved. I smiled like a little giddy bitch when I first experienced this stage because it was the one stage I genuinely had a wish list for. I wanted them to give another shot at remastering another Mach Speed section, and they delivered here, 100%. This is one of the most beautiful shots in a Sonic game. I'm glad Kingdom Valley got its long-awaited second chance, and hopefully we get more levels like this in the future. I actually just noticed this is the same building Sonic ran down in the third section of his stage. Now Shadow seems to go through Sonic stages backwards, and that seems to be the case for both games. In Shadow Generations, after Shadow runs down the building, he must chaos control through this gate for one more Doom Surf section, which from the looks like the area you run through with Silver in Sonic's story, but it's much more closed off, which then leads into the waterfall section. If there's any stage I've constantly replayed for the speedruns and just how it looks, it's definitely this stage. Shout out to Chaos Island, I love that stage's speedrunning potential, but Kingdom Valley just takes the cake from me, man. And this is only the first act, as there's a second act. Obviously it's not as broad as the first because it is a 2D stage, but I was still able to spot some broad references in there. Making our way to Act 2. Shadow's Act 2 is obviously a lot more linear. I mean, it's a 2D stage, but that doesn't stop it from being a really fantastic stage. There are so many multiple paths and cool ways to skip areas if you know what you're doing. And although this level doesn't have any big in-your-face references, the one in-your-face reference I was able to spot looks to be this area right here, where Shadow fought the Egg Cerberus in the original game. Yeah, hi. Shadow nor Sonic fight the Egg Cerberus in Kingdom Valley. Those are actually in White Acropolis and Dusty Desert. I just don't want to give y'all any wrong information. Alright, back to the video. Now this stage is obviously more original than the first stage, but for what I'm guessing it looks like they made a stage out of the forest surrounding the Soleano Castle area, up until the middle, which holds the inside arena where you fight the Egg Cerberus. Chaos control is really helpful for making light of these platforms, so make sure you're using it. The glaze I have for this stage can go on, and honestly, besides like the Space Colony arc, you can tell they had the most fun remaking this stage. It feels like a love letter to what could have been back in the day, and with talks of Sonic 06 being remade coming, I can only hope and pray we see these locales again. Look, I know we have this stigma of Sonic reusing old locations, and I mean since Sonic Generations we've seen a variant of Green Hill in every game moving forward. This isn't on the level of Kirby constantly using Wispy Woods or Mario reusing Peach's Castle. Sonic is supposed to be someone who can be anywhere at a moment's notice, so constantly seeing Sonic in places like Green Hill, while yes being a favorite spot for Sonic and Co, it just feels like this lifeless green field that they keep having to run back to. And say what you want about Green Hill Chemical Plant and Sky Sanctuary, I love these stages as much as the next guy, but I am tired of seeing these in my Sonic Sonic games. I'm very open to revisiting an area like Soleanna because of how lively it is. Station Square, hell, even Sonic San Francisco and Sonic Adventure 2. Have you guys noticed we haven't gotten a new city level in so long? And no, this fucking Cyber City doesn't count. Sonic Team keeps bringing back the Wisp, but won't bring back Planet Wisp or even make a new game with a new story surrounding them. And since you like them so much, go ahead, just no more
baldy nose hair!
And I believe what makes these levels so good nowadays is that Sonic Team are actually able to make these stages with love and care. I want to talk about Sunset Heights, but I think I'm going to save that for another day because it is the perfect catalyst to explain what I'm talking about right now. But like I said, I'm going to save that for another video. Seeing Kingdom Valley return made me feel a certain type of way because Kingdom Valley has not been shown off again since the original Sonic 06, and every other stage besides the Space Colony Arc and Rail Canyon are still pretty recent stages. Chaos Island comes from a game that came out a little over 2 years ago, and while Sonic Forces is turning 10, that doesn't save Sonic Team from the fact that Sunset Heights, it's just Green Hill Zone with a city, and even then we have to play through a minute and a half of Radical Highway. Kingdom Valley is one of the 2 stages that doesn't get a dedicated Doom Chase sequence in the first act, the second being Chaos Island. I'm glad they decided to make that change because canonically these are some of the longest stages in Sonic history. Well, Chaos Island is a literal island, but they did their best translating this stage into 3D. And the 2D version of Chaos Island might be my favorite stage in this game by far. If this is the new direction for 2D Sonic, I hope they continue this. Hell, give us a modern Rush game with these graphics. I will give you my life savings. Act 1 has to be my favorite stage in this game, and it's a double positive because I can switch over to Sonic Generations and play Rooftop Run. Both versions, I love playing Sonic games on PC. It's definitely the definitive way to play Sonic, but to my console friends, I hope this game has reached or even exceeded your expectations. To wrap up this video, I just want to thank you all for the insane views on my recent videos. This is kind of crazy. I gained like 30 subs in a month. That's insane after being stuck at 185 for like 5 years straight. That's my take on Kingdom Valley and my comparison to the original stage. I hope they continue stage direction like this so I can make many more videos talking about these stages. But if you still want me to talk about these stages anyway, just go ahead and let me know what level you want me to talk about in the comment section below. Now I'm gonna hit you with the same thing I hit you with last time. It's your friendly neighborhood black man, and I'll see you in the next one.